So here we go. Practice swings. I know I'm killing you with the patience here, but this is what we should be doing, right?
He wipes the ball
I'm killing you with the, yeah, give me another one, give me another one. Nope, nope, you can have a cookie after you eat your dinner.
Josh, welcome. Good
Hello.
to see you. Yeah. When we first started talking about short game, it's a funny evolution, right? I felt like my thing was always, everyone's telling me like, dude, you're taking like a full swing. And I would take it to here, and as long as I would feel like I kind of dropped my hands and moved through with my chest, my contact was money every time. Problem was, I had to use a lot of deceleration.
Yeah.
On short shots were tough for
Yeah.
me, like this one right here. But also, like, my distance control wasn't always great. It was all feel.
Yeah.
Right? So then you helped me understand shoulder rock, and it felt like the club gets outside my hands, where I'm used to this.
Everything being inside.
The challenge then I got was two things. One, I started to chunk it in thicker stuff,
Yep.
and even when I'd open it up. And so my contact was no longer like a foregone conclusion.
Yep.
And then everything ran out.
Yep.
I went from having like really high, soft, checky stuff to more runny stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I get better contact when I get here,
Yeah.
because I can just turn through. But like, what's the balance there? I'd love to get back to what Parker McLaughlin always says, is like the no divot
Yeah.
crew, so that any lie, I feel like I can pick it. But I found myself on some wet turf. I try and start to like take a divot because I'm nervous about chunking it.
And so there's layers to this discussion, obviously. Lots of different ways we could go about this, obviously. I think for you and for a lot of people who are learning, like, what are we trying to do? We're trying to shoot lower scores.
Yeah.
Right? I want to shoot lower scores. That some of the, what you just said in the intro, I would sort of approach some of these short game shots, sort of almost thinking about a smaller than my full swing, where you're bigger than is necessary. And as a result of being this big, and let's just think, forget golf for a second. If I need to land the ball there and I'm here, my whole instinct is, how can I slow it down just enough to get it to land where I want to get it down to?
Right.
Your entire world is about deceleration and controlling and stopping, but not stopping too much. There's nothing about it that is associated with an athletic endeavor like tossing.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where we get back to. If we go back to baseball, if we go to basketball, if we go to, what's the beanbag and the cornhole,
Yeah.
right? Like any of these kinds of things, that the athletic motion in that regard is a rhythmic endeavor where the actual swing is very small and it is accelerating to a point.
Yeah.
And your whole world was more about decelerating
Yeah.
to a point. So
Yeah.
in a greater sense, one of the conversations, more of a technical conversation, how do we get you set up? So we can have some discussion about grip, because as you get stronger in a full swing, which works itself nicely if we're trying to turn and rotate, especially if you're hitting a draw,
Yeah.
and a short game shot, that when we get that left hand a little bit weaker, and we can talk ourselves through this, that when you rock your shoulders back and forth, ideally we want the club much more in front of you on these smaller swings. It's just a much smaller motion.
Yeah.
It makes it much more difficult if it's in and it's now moving out, and then I'm trying to figure out how to fight it back over.
Yeah.
If we could somehow just get that club to rock much more right in front of us and use the bounce of the club, you can slide it more effectively, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So the layout here, just in general, I walked it off big paces. So it was basically 12 big steps, 36 feet, probably a little bit more than that. First cone is 1/4 of the distance, 1/3 of the distance, and half of the distance. So you can just
Okay.
kind of see the setup there. There's the inner circle is inside 3 feet. Obviously, if we could chip it into the inner circle and we're doing our putting work, we're getting up and down every single time, because you're, close to 100%, 90-something%. If we can get it into the outside circle inside 6 feet, you're getting up and down at least at a clip where you feel like, I should have a very good chance of making par.
Right.
And if I don't, I'm definitely making bogey.
Right.
Not that that's the goal.
Right.
But easy bogey kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
How do we create this setup for you as a structure where we say, okay, I'm going to learn a very specific setup and feel, smaller swings, rhythmic acceleration, tossing a ball to a target, Where if I use, in my example, if I use my pitching wedge, I could land the ball about 25% of the way because of the loft of the club, and
Right.
it's going to roll 75 because this is just a ratio built in if I
Right.
do nothing different.
Right.
My sand wedges would be approximately a third if I do the same thing over and over and over again, and my lob wedge might be closer to 50%.
Right.
And this is, I mean, again, not exact for everyone,
Yeah.
but the point would be is as if I could just plug in one very, very basic, almost like, okay, I'm learning to shoot a free throw.
Yeah.
Not NBA free throws, not Steph Curry fadeaway stuff,
Yeah.
not a Kareem Scott.
Vanilla stock shot.
Vanilla stock shot.
Yeah.
And then we can learn at a later date, how do I deviate off of that vanilla to create some flavor? Great.
Yeah.
But the foundation and the basis for a very basic chip shot, to be able to bump the ball with a small swing and land it a percentage and roll it a percentage, needs to be something that you as a player can do super consistently. Because if you can do this consistently, and we now go 120 yards back to the fairway, and you can look at this whole area conceptually, even not in your sharpest, and say, if I aimed at the middle of the green, and I could now hit it either on the green or even 3 or 4 or 5 paces off the green,
Yeah.
and I'm still gonna make par or bogey at the
gonna be
worst,
okay.
you're
Yeah.
gonna be okay, and
Yeah.
it takes a little pressure off that guy.
So if someone's watching, because this is entering my mind, so I'm sure it's entering theirs. If I'm like, okay, but I chunk it in this, right? You're still saying you kind of have to start here
100%,
before I address my chunking and thicker stuff.
100%.
Okay.
Toss the ball and land it at the yellow. So that landed at the red.
Yeah, a
And
little
let's
low.
watch it. So you toss that ball, it landed at the red at that trajectory and finished right there.
Yeah.
If you did nothing different, same toss and landed it here, where do we expect the ball's gonna finish?
Closer.
Further.
Yeah.
So go ahead and toss it all the way to here. So you tossed it to the orange, and it goes a little further.
Yeah.
Now toss it to the blue. If you toss it with higher trajectory, it's
Yeah.
gonna roll less.
Yeah.
If you toss it with lower trajectory, it's gonna roll more. Without getting into all the craziness of it,
Yeah.
if you could be a good tosser, right?
Yeah.
Then you're gonna be a great chipper. Just so that we're clear, with your feet really, really close together, the ball is effectively right opposite your right chest,
Okay.
right? If I said get the ball at your right foot and your feet were shoulder length apart, step that one way off, now the ball is way back in your stance.
Oh, interesting.
So if your feet are basically just a club head apart,
Yeah.
and you get the ball right at your back foot, the ball is basically just logo right of sternum. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Yeah.
1, 2. You swept it in between the yellow and the blue, and it was pretty close.
Yeah.
What club do you have there?
54.
This is your number one foundation. Can Evan sweep the grass
Yeah.
consistently?
Yeah.
Here we go. Rhythm, sweep. 1, 2. You are sweeping or accelerating the ball out to your target. You swept it to the blue, and it rolled 6 feet too far.
Yeah.
Great shot,
Yeah.
but my question to you in the world of logic, if you did a beautiful sweep and it landed 50% of the way and went 6 feet too far, where do we need to land it? Somewhere.
Yeah.
Got it?
Yeah.
So here we go. Practice swings. I know I'm killing you with the patience here, but this is what we should be doing, right?
He wipes the ball
I'm
away.
killing you with the, yeah, give me another one, give me another one. Nope, you can have a cookie after you eat your dinner. The ball is at your back foot.
Yeah.
Your feet are close together.
Yeah.
Your body is aligned slightly left of target.
Yeah.
Your weight is left, your hands are left, and your left hand is weaker. Now just get athletic. Rhythmic swing, accelerating the turf forward. And then once you feel that sweep, put it behind a ball, weight forward, sweep it, you landed it just less than the blue. So we got to pull it back a little bit
Yeah.
more, right?
Yeah.
Still too big.
Okay.
Chest turn, sweep it. So that one was in between the orange and the blue, and it's perfectly it's perfect distance.
Yeah.
What was different about it?
Felt almost like I'm doing nothing. Like it felt like
Well,
super.
that's always interesting. This kind of a feel as a foundation for what happens when we make bigger swings is going to be very productive for you.
Yeah.
Because I would still argue, as we've discussed, that your club does tend to get dragged and flipped over. Even though you don't realize you're doing it,
Right.
it gets inside more than it probably would be ideal.
Right.
If your feel here is, oh my God, I'm just rocking my chest, I'm not doing anything with my hands or my arms, then yeah, when you just rock your chest, it is gonna be right in front of you.
Right.
Look at the yellow cone for a second. You got it?
Yeah.
Now keep your head here. Now think about where the yellow cone is.
Yeah.
Do you feel where it is?
Yeah.
Don't look, but go ahead and toss the ball to the yellow cone. Okay, so you had a image in your head of where it needed to land.
Yeah.
You don't need to look. I'd like your eyes to be here.
But my mind.
But I want your mind
yeah.
to be where you
Yeah.
want to toss it. Pitched it in between the two cones. So those last two shots you hit literally finished 1 foot past the hole, and you landed them in the exact same spot.
Yeah.
So let's work on a very simple and basic motion that allows you to consistently land it where you want to land it. Let's switch clubs. Grab like a pitching wedge, something with less loft. I don't want you to change anything about what you're doing.
Okay.
We're gonna put the ball off, like let's go right here. Let's go right here. So the ball is at your back foot.
Yep.
Your feet are close together.
Yep.
Your body is slightly open to the target. Your hands and your weight are forward, and you're going to sweep the grass in a very, very small rhythmic motion. Good. Keep the weight left. Good. Stay there. Rock. Sweep. Hands and weight forward. Sweep it. Okay, so that one landed just short of the yellow, and it finished pin high.
Yeah.
Your 54 landed just short of the blue and finished flag high. Did you do anything different?
No.
Same exact human being.
Yeah.
Nothing changed. I would love to see you use one club landed here and finish it there every time. Land one club here every time. Maybe even just for the sake of it, grab an 8-iron and land it here and finish it in the circle every time. Because it's no different than lobbing it higher, lobbing
Right.
it. You're still just tossing something.
Right.
Master this, and then everything else you want to do becomes a derivative of this. Swept it in between the two, right next to the hole. So just over the hoop. So you missed your target by 1 foot, and it's right next to the hole.
And I bet you the thing that most golfers don't do is you go through a session like this and you're like, I got it. Like obviously you need to practice it, but like that's easy. But then you go to the course and you don't think about your circle and you don't think about where to land it.
But you have,
And that's why it doesn't go.
You have
but
to
when
have
you
a circle. If
right,
you don't have a
when
circle,
you give me that visually,
Absolutely.
I'm like, okay, job's easy. I know exactly what to do. My point is, I know from experience, a lot of golfers get to the greens and they're thinking about this and they're in here and they're in here and they don't think about that and they don't think about that and then they chunk it because they're focused on the wrong thing.
if you just do the same rocking thing, don't go, oh shit, it's in the rough, I've got to do something different. Just do the same thing. Your motion is going to catch the ball, and then it's going to get to the bottom of the arc because the center of gravity is left of ball.
Yeah.
And you don't have to fight through the problem, just keep accelerating. Okay, landed in the circle. Question for you, did you sweep the grass?
Yeah.
What happened?
It's perfect.
Can Evan do the same dang thing he did over there in the rough?
It's a cool thought to just like, all I got to do is brush the grass.
So this is just a normal chip shot, right?
Yeah.
Oh, no problem.
Right.
Okay, that's it. Now go ahead and firm it up a little bit. So it was like, if I just stayed soft and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
So I did, but I'm still just rhythmically doing it. But now firm
Right.
it up. I'm going to go back to my normal guy. If I go soft, and I'm like, ooh, that felt weird.
Yeah.
Now be soft. Don't fight
Okay.
me. Oh, I could just.
Right.
There's no resistance. Cool.
Right.
Then I'll be soft.
Right.
I do a couple practice swings, and I'm like, oh, I feel some resistance. Firm it up a touch.
Right.
I get through it.
Yeah.
And once I've tested it and I'm like, oh, I can go through it, then go through it.
Right.
This is a metal weapon. I mean,
Right.
It's winning. Go back to your basics and fundamentals, Evan. Challenge yourself to feel, is it sweeping the grass? And then put it behind the ball and sweep the grass. What'd it feel like?
A little heavy.
We're just working on the fundamental of being the guy.
Right.
You were 100% the guy on swing 2, you were 100% not the guy on swing 1,
Right.
and you were sort of kind of in between on that one. Beautiful. Feel it?
Yeah.
Evan, I would love to see you do a heavy diet of boring normal a little bit of rough, not crazy. So you could just go, oh my God, these two, no big deal.
Right.
And then we make it a little bit of a big deal here.
Right.
And then we go, oh, 1, 2, 3, no big deal. Watch and learn and apply.
Yep.
And in that regard, you're almost not making a percentage happen. You're just doing your thing.
Right.
And you're going learner mindset. You're going, oh, well shit, that felt outstanding. Boy, when I have a little bit of a bigger swing like this happens.
Right.
Do you want to go for the hole now?
Sure.
So then we're landing it maybe a little bit further?
Yeah. Just beyond the flag.
But we're not hitting it harder, correct? You're just sweeping it that far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Carried it farther.
What, you carried it further?
Yeah.
And how did you carry it further? I swept it further.
Yeah.
Well, because I knew I had to sweep it further if it was going
Right.
to go further.
Yeah.
I set up the same. I positioned myself the same. I pretended like it was the most basic of shots.
Yeah.
I felt it in a practice swing to verify, are the conditions going to allow me to do nothing?
Yeah.
And if the answer is, yes, Evan, the conditions aren't going to mess with you, just do your thing, then do your thing.
Yeah, I did open it a tad, which gave me more confidence that it's going to go through.
Fine and fair.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
you do open it a tad without changing any of the other things,
Right.
what's going to happen to the ball flight?
It's going to go up.
What's
Yeah.
going to happen to the land to roll ratio?
It's going to be less. I've always learned from Serm, my co-host, you've got a sweep or a little bit of a gouge. One's a little bit more, you're sweeping the grass like we've been doing, another kind of goes down after it. Is that the only difference here?
No, I get where you're going with it. I would say if we're a little open, if the club is laying a touch open, if you stay with this forward thing, maybe you know, a little more engagement in it. Instead of just tossing it, you feel like, okay, there's a little bit more of a, I'm with the toss. I'm still tossing though. It's not an edit. It's just, it's a little bit of a firmer toss.
Maybe more acceleration?
Yeah,
through?
yeah. There can't be gouge. It has to be accelerating. Beautiful. I could see you having a little bit of a firmer set,
That's actually,
but you still accelerated that one.
yeah, that one,
Beautiful.
that's a really great distinction. Because I think we want to go harder at the ball.
You
But
see
that
it.
goes against everything I just did.
So, again, this doesn't mean bigger and harder, right?
Yeah.
It just means firm it up a little so you can make sure that that club's getting through the grass a little bit. There you go. Same dude. What'd you do?
I just firmed up.
I firmed up so I could make sure that the sweep happened.
Yeah.
Is it the same as this?
Yeah.
Little variable difference?
Yeah.
You can make bogeys from these ones,
Right.
Evan. You're gonna make bogeys. We don't know how the grass is gonna respond. I can't use the math as well here. I'm not sure, is it gonna grab? Is it not gonna grab? Is it gonna slide? Tour guys, when they hit out of the rough.
Right.
I mean, they're the best in the world, but I don't know what to do. It's not predictable. So let me hit
Right.
something flighted to the front of the green because I'm not sure if this ball's gonna jump or not. No one's as good from here.
Right.
You're not making par unless it's inside of a tight circle. If the predictability is less, bogey is possible.
So if you had to sum up why I was probably struggling with chunking it before, what would you say is the most common reason that golfers are chunking it?
The combination of too big where everything is more, like the going at the ball.
Yeah.
I think in the rough, oh my God, it's sitting down, I have to dig it out of there. Gets you away from being somebody who is free and releasing and swinging, and gets you into being somebody who is tighter and gougier and hittier.
Yeah.
That whole general thing is a big one.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've got to get this thing out of here versus, hold on, let me,
Or you know what I
Ooh,
think it is?
let me accelerate
I've
it out of the
always
rough.
done light. I would just do bigger light. I would have open.
Yeah.
So the hand drill is a perfect example. If I'm going into something with more weight and I'm going at it with lightness, even though it's bigger, it's going to get caught up.
it might get caught up. So a little,
Versus if I firm up and I accelerate through,
right.
same motion.
But you're still accelerating through. You're
Yeah.
not gouging, stomping,
right.
hitting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Does that make?
Yeah, yeah.
You've got to be really, really good at this.